We're living in a time now where people argue on behalf of black people about things black people aren't even upset about. I heard this one white lady online. She's like, I'm upset and outraged by the lack of diversity in Tim Burton movies. And I know for a fact that black people don't care about being in Tim Burton movies. It's not like I woke up this morning like, you know what the most difficult thing about being a black man in America is? I'm unrepresented in Edward Scissorhands. It's not a real thing, you know. I don't like those white savior movies, you know. Makes me want to like flip the script, like have my own white savior movie where I coach a fat white girl through a hot dog eating contest. Call it The Fat Side. She's walking down the street, she's like, I don't believe in myself. I'm like, I believe in you. She's like, really, what do you see in me? I'm like, a whole lot of hot dogs. And then she chokes and dies on the hot dog. But the good news is, I won an Oscar, so. And my mom doesn't like that joke. She always says if you don't have anything nice to say, then you're just like your father. My girlfriend is white, that's just who she is, it's not a come up. And I feel like the dangers we experience apart are neutralized more together. That makes sense? Like one time we on the subway platform facing each other and standing behind me, looking in her direction, was the guy's like licking his lips. It's like putting on chapstick for way too long. And she felt nervous, held my hand, felt safe. And then standing behind her, looking in my direction, were two fully uniformed police officers. And I felt nervous, held her hand, felt safe. And then a cop started putting on chapstick. Yeah, this actually happened to me recently. I was pulled over by the cops in a cab. Yeah, I didn't know they could do that either. And they put on the lights, boop, and the cab driver was like, I don't know. I think I'm good. They came to shine the lights in the back seat. They're like, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure this guy's all right. We had some robberies at gunpoint tonight. And it made me nervous because, like, as a kid, like, cops would come to my school and read books to us. But, like, in that moment, I felt like I was in a Dr. Seuss book that was trying to demonstrate racism to children. Just like, cop I am cop I am. I do not like black man or woman. I would not like them on a boat. I would not like them on a goat. I would not like them eating cookies. I would not like them wearing hoodies. I would not like them anywhere, to be honest. Except maybe my fantasy basketball team. They came over like, where you coming from? I was like, a comedy show. They're like, where you going to? I was like, a comedy show. They're like, oh, really? You're a comedian? Tell me a joke. And I was like, you just pulled over my cab? Nigga, that's the joke. That's all you get, you goofy bitch. I don't know. I think race relations are getting better, though. I don't know if y'all heard, but a KKK leader was caught with a black gay prostitute. Yeah, sounds progressive. He hates blacks, he hates gays, when they're together for some reason. He's like, oh, I dabble. It's like two things he hates became something he loves, you know? I get it, I hate mayonnaise and tuna fish. But when they're together, who would have known? Yeah, I think it's hard for black men, especially, to talk about depression because we have so many cool words available to us to undermine how we really feel, you know? Like a couple years ago, I was having some suicidal thoughts and depression, so I checked myself into a psych unit, and I know you guys are looking at me like, Jordan, but you're so handsome and well put together, but you know what they say, black don't crack, only psychologically. I got out of the psych unit and a friend of mine was like, are you okay, man? Is everything all right? But I had so many cool words available to me. I was like, yeah, I was just tripping. But I wasn't just tripping. I had a severe mental breakdown. If anything, I might have been bugging, but I wasn't tripping. I went to see my therapist. He's like, how's your week? I was like, I was on one. He looked at my prescription like, you're supposed to be on 2.